What's going on, everyone? This is Zach, and the Indianapolis Regional just finished up. It was our first regional using Pokemon Champion, so we're going to take a look at the data, and we're going to talk about it. If you guys enjoy this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what surprised you the most in the comments down below. Let's get into it. Let's start with usage. The first thing we want to look at is the day one usage here, and you really shouldn't be shocked by any of this. Like, it's just an amalgamation of about like three different Mega Charizard teams. Floette in there as well. And honestly, the thing that surprised me is more in day two, but you see here, Basculegion at 50% usage. Basculegion is just so good, but some people have tried to find another water type instead, mainly because of the King Gambit problem. As you can see with King Gambit here, with Basculegion and King Gambit, they kind of go hand in hand. But if we look at the day two, you'll see why people are starting to try to find other mons that aren't Basculegion to fit that role. It's just Last Respects is so, it can be so powerful if you get it in the right position. Whimsicott here at 27%, like not too much of a shocker here. Garchomp and Charizard around the same percentage. More Garchomps than there are Charizards, which makes sense because Garchomp is just one of the best mons here. And you got the two fairies at the bottom, Floette and Sylveon, as well as Glamora. I definitely thought with the VR we would see some more people switch to Cleavor. There were some Cleavors here, but Glamora still has definitely some usage. I think we need to find some variety in it, because I do think it can be very strong in this format, especially with how much you see Charizard, how much you see Floette, how much you see Sylveon. And there's not a lot of psychic types besides the Farigiraf. So if you can game plan it, it's pretty good here. Aerodactyl coming in on the bottom row as well. A lot of utility in Aerodactyl, whether you're running the Mega or the Focus Sash, Tailwind, Wide Guard, Rock Slide, all that good stuff. When we move over to day two, we can kind of see why people are trying to find a Pokemon to fill Basculegion's role that's not Basculegion. Basculegion still up there, but King Gambit above it. That was a little bit of a shocker to me. And then you see the three big mons. You see the Garchomp, Floette, and Charizard. And Incineroar overtaking Sneasler in usage is something that I found interesting as well. We saw that Farigiraf dropped off, and so did Glamora. For the Sinistcha, good for, tail room options and recovery. So it's kind of hard to ignore the Sinistcha. And Dragonite making it up here as it's a really good mon to deal with Charizard. And in some situations, if you can get the board position right, Garchomp and Charizard, as well as Dragonite doesn't really care for any attacks that Charizard throws at it. But yeah, Incin still being up there in the top 6 day two is really impressive to me. We see that it was won by Arsal, and they had the Mega Charizard Y and Venusaur. The one thing I did find surprising, but it makes a lot of sense, is that Venusaur doesn't have any attacking grass type moves, and you really don't need that. Like, you have the Solar Beam on the Charizard, and then you have good coverage here with the Earth Power and the Sludge Bomb to hit those fairies, to hit those steel types, and do good damage, and then the Sleep Powder to cause some disruption. You also have Incineroar with the Throat Chop, so it can deal with Sylveon. Choice Scarf Garchomp, we've been seeing Garchomps be bulkier, but this Choice Scarf is definitely showing off here. And then once again, you got the Sinistcha here for that hospitality, for that healing, keeping your mons on the field longer and letting them do more damage with your Mega Charizard Y and your Mega Floette. Floette is the Calm Mind variant with no Draining Kiss. So usually on the Calm Mind variants, you'll see Draining Kiss for recovery, but it looks like they're using Sinistra in place of that. So you have the Moonblast and the Dazzling Gleam. If you can set up the Floette, you can do a lot of damage with it. So congrats to them. Next up, we got Wolf here with the unusual team that everyone seemed to love, Tyranitar and Mega Steelix. Now, I do love a good Mega Tyranitar. I haven't yet to try the Dragon Dance set. As a big Tyranitar fan, I'm always going low kick for the King Gambit matchup, but maybe I might have to try some Dragon Dance here. You have a lot of support with Sinistra and Rotom Wash, with the Will-O-Wisp burn, the light screen to support against those special attacks, Machagacha for burning potential, redirection, Rage Powder, and as well as that Hospitality, just to keep the two heavy hitters in Tyranitar and Steelix comfortable and putting them in positions where they don't have to take certain attacks. Steelix has the Wide Guard as well to stop spread attacks, so it can play a supporting role in some aspects. And we got Sneasler here, just a very standard Sneasler, and a Sharp Beak Talonflame with Swords Dance. No Tailwind as well, which kind of makes sense. You think there would be like a fast mode, but Wolf does that with the Unburden on Sneasler and the Dragon Dance on Tyranitar if he wants to have a fast mode there. That's kind of how we saw him play it. And we saw the Talonflame. I don't think it really did much, but the Brave Bird does threaten Sneasler right off the bat. So priority Brave Bird against a Sneasler is a pretty good thing, especially with most of them still being the White Herb. We did see a decent amount of Focus Ashes, so that makes sense because you can just threaten it immediately, or you can just click Flare Blitz. But it's interesting to see Talonflame without the Tailwind, but when you see that this team has the option to go slow, it makes sense in a way. Next up, we have another Tyranitar team from Michael Zhang. And once again, this is more something of what I would try with the low kick, but it also has the Mega Frostlass as well with the Hisuian Arcanine. Hisuian Arcanine and Frostlass are just such a solid combination. This one does not have Intimidate. It has the Rock Head to have more powerful head smashes, more powerful flare blitzes, and it is the Focus Sash variant, so it's there to deal a lot of damage outright and kind of just go away. Choice Scarf Hydreigon. I believe Hydreigon Choice Scarf will outspeed the Garchomps that are Choice Scarf. Right. I always say things I feel certain about them, but then I like second guess myself. 98 now. So I know what it is. You have to go Timid, max speed to outspeed Adamant Garchomps. But even then, if it's not Choice Scarf, it's going to get outsped by the Hydreigon. And then you also have things like Snarl, Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, Earth Power, just to deal a good amount of damage. And it's a resist against Farigiraf. You got the bulkier Garchomp here with the Citrus Berry, with the Dragon Claw, Earthquake, Rock Slide, just the standard. And then you have the Occaberry Corviknight, which is there to get Tailwind up and to deal damage. It's not a body press set, and it kind of makes sense that you don't have that on the team. Corviknight in the right situations is such a good mon. It's just really hard with all the Charizards, but when you have Tyranitar and Garchomp, and Hisuian Arcanine, in all honesty, like Corviknight feels a lot safer when you have these three mons that all threaten the Charizard immediately. Next, we have Nick Navarre, Nails, which is using the Palafin over the Basque Legion. We still see the King Gambit, and it's actually the Black Glasses set, which is putting out more damage, and it is only dark type moves. So this is kind of, at this point, an interesting King Gambit set, because most of the time you're seeing them either run low kick, more often now is Iron Head, and you usually see the Choppleberry to give you some defense. Here we also have the Focus Sash Sneasler with Poison Touch and not Unburden. So that's interesting to see here. You have Citrus Berry Ensign, but we have the Bulka Palafin. And the Bulka Palafin is a way to just get it really bulky. And I believe it was the Battle Room also has a coaching Sneasler as well. You see the Talonflame here with Dual Wing Beat, Protect, Tailwind, and Wisp for support. And then the Mega Floret with that Calm Mind and Draining Kiss. So I do think Palafin is really interesting here. I would love to see how this goes, especially with the leftovers like Bulk Up. I want to see what's the EV spread of this, because this is definitely something that I want to try. Especially on those teams that are running the Mystic Water. Like if you're running the Mystic Water Basque Legion, Palafin might fit there as well. And here is what I'm excited for. The most Reg A++'s very own Evan Scott getting 5th place. It was so crazy getting to watch him battle on stream. Unfortunately, he did not win any of his stream matches, but those were the only ones he lost. He lost to world champion Wolfclick and Michael Zhang, which those are two very good competitors. One of them was the finalist in this tournament as well. He's running Garchomp Frostlass here with the Focus Sash Glomora. So I still like Glomora. I don't, like I said, I think it needs to be expanded on how it could be used. Toxic Debris is very good disruption, especially if you're playing a long game with Protect on Frostlass, Protect on Garchomp, Protect and Encore on Whimsicott, Intimidate with Incineroar, and then Corviknight with the leftovers and Roost. Getting a Pokemon poisoned is really good for this kind of situation. So it makes sense that he's got these toxic spikes and then just a lot of power behind it with the Garchomp, with the Frostlass. Unfortunately, he lost to Michael Zhang in top 8, but a top 8 finish is amazing. We're very proud of him. Good job, Evan. I do want to get a chance to talk to him about this team, hopefully in a video, so stay tuned for that. What else we got? We got Alex Underhill with the Frostlass as well. Saw a lot of Frostlass, which I think is actually really cool to see because of how much Charizard there is right now in the format, but there's also a lot of Garchomp, and Frostlass is really good into the Garchomp. We have our own Garchomp here with the Roselia Berry, so it can take the first fairy attack fairly well with the Dragon Claw, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. You got the Unburned Sneasler with the Fake Out. This just the standard Unburned Sneasler. Citrus Berry Basque Legion. So this is a bulkier Basque Legion, still with that adaptability. So I wonder how a non-Choice Scarf Basque Legion felt without Tailwind, because there's no Tailwind on this team, but we do have, once again, the Black Glasses King Gambit, this time with the Iron Head, and then Dragonite is here to help with the Charizard matchup, because it just, with its high special attack, its multi-scale, it just does very well into Charizard. It doesn't take any of Charizard's attacks that hard, and it one-shots it back with Thunderbolt. It's got the Flamethrower there for things like King Gambit, Dragon Pulse for Garchomps. It does well. It really does. We got MJ Rogers here with a Mega Garchomp. Mega Charizard team, but also Mega Garchomp, which you usually see the Mega go in go onto Aerodactyl to give it an option to Mega to survive certain things and get that Tailwind up. But you see the Aerodactyl here with Focus Sash and no Protect. Instead, they have Wide Guard and Sunny Day, Tailwind, and Rock Slide. So this Aerodactyl's job is literally just to reset Sun if it needs to reset Sun, Wide Guard if it needs a Wide Guard, and then Tailwind and Rock Slide. Like, it's very simple. The Unnerve ability is really good for certain things. Farigiraf with the Twisted Spoons, usually you see some kind of recovery on the Farigiraf, so I'm curious about why Michael or MJ went with the Twisted Spoon over the Citrus Berry or something like that. We have Pasho Berry Ensign with Darkest Lariat over the Throat Chop, and then Sylveon with Pixelate, Hyper Voice, Detect, Quick Attack, Moonblast. There's standard things here, but then there's also things that are really cool techs, because Mega Garchomp is slower, so actually the Trick Room here could also help the Garchomp as well. It doesn't have a Rock Attack as also, so that's a curious thing here. Stomping Tantrum, probably trying to take double damage off of Protects and all that stuff. But then you still have the Earthquake when you want to fire it off next to the Charizard. Garchomp is good with out of item, so I could see why they made this choice. And then when you have the option to, if you want a slower Garchomp, if you are in Trick Room, you could still use Garchomp here and not worry about like the Choice Scarf getting in the way or its speed getting in the way, because you can actually drop it 10 points by the Mega Evolution. So this was a really cool thing to see, and I'm excited for that. Okay. We got William Brown, which is the highest placing rain team. We had 2 sand in front of it. We had 1, 2 sun, and 2 snow. So this is the Esperatha, the Boost and Baton Pass Esperatha with Mega Skullvillain as well, which I feel like Mega Skullvillain is actually not too bad on a team like this, because you want to bulk out your team, and what's better than burning everything. You also get redirection. We usually see like a Sinistra on a team like this, but I could see how this is a little bit more aggressive, because with the Mega Skullvillain, you're kind of guaranteeing the burns with that Rage Powder, and you're also protecting Espafra. And then for the Charizard matchup, there's also like the Mega Dragonite as well, utilizing that rain with Hurricane and Dragon Pulse, but then it also has like the extreme speed to pick things off. We got a standard Sneasler here and pretty standard Archaludon as well, and a Politoed. Usually Politoed has a recovery item. This one went with the Mystic Water and just wanted to utilize that high power for the Muddy Waters for the Weather Balls. I thought it was a cool team. I do get annoyed when I have to play Espafra, but it's a cool team overall. We got Atmosphere VGC with just a lot of support and Garchomp and Floette. So, and Mega Gyarados. I forgot about that. This is the second Gyarados and top 16 and top cut, but this one is the only Mega Gyarados. So we have seen some Megas here. We had Wolf with Mega Steelix. We had Mega Garchomp from MJ, and then we had Mega Gyarados from Atmosphere here, Nathaniel. Garchomp with the Roselia Berry, standard Sneasler, standard Ensign. Actually, no Dark type move. I guess you don't need it because you have the Mega Gyarados if you need a good Dark type move. But Taunt on the Incineroar, which I feel like is actually pretty good with the Shuka Berry. And then you have the Sinistra for recovery and another Calm Mind Floette. So pretty good overall. I like that Mega Gyarados can come in, get the Intimidate. You have 2 Intimidators, so you can just cycle in and out Intimidates. But then also you can set up the Gyarados, which most of the Gyarados that we've seen so far have been like the Thunder Wave Taunt, like Waterfall kind of Gyarados. Well, I didn't get to look at this one yet. I really didn't see this one at all. Oh, that's Rotom Wash. I was like, did they use base form Rotom? We got Brendan here with a Sand team. Big fan of Sand teams because they got the T-Tar. Mega Tyranitar is your Mega in here. You got the Excadrill. You got the Rotom for the Will-O-Wisp. I wonder now that we've seen Wolf's team, are we going to see more no protect Rotoms? Because I feel like Light Screen or even Reflect would help this team out. But I guess you have the Hydreigon with the Snarl if you really want to. We have a Spell Tag Mimikyu here that is offensive, which is something I feel like I haven't seen in a while. Most of the time when you see Mimikyu, you see Trick Room, but then you also have the Corviknight with the bulk up and the leftovers. And once again, like Corviknight feels risky because of how heavy Charizard is in this meta. But when you have Tyranitar, you don't have to worry about it as much. And you even have the Snarl Hydreigon to weaken that Charizard. And the Rotom threatens it as well. We have a Como team here from Chase. This Como, like we've seen stuff like this. The soundproofing is really good because it protects you from Sylveon. It protects you from Perish Song. You also have Gyarados here. This is the Gyarados that we're used to seeing with the Thunder Wave, the Taunt, and also Helping Hand. And then you also have the Sand mode as well for weather control. And once again, that Corviknight and the Sinistcha for recovery. Sinistcha is doing really good here. Mainly because this is such a quick game. If you can slow it down, if you can get control or delay a knockout, you can swing a lot of things in your favor. So having that recovery, that hospitality from Sinistcha just makes it so good. Like the fact that people are bringing it over. People are bringing it with Charizard. That's one thing I noticed is that we saw a lot of Charizard Y teams with the Sinistcha. But you're also seeing it on those Sand teams that want to switch in and out and are probably going to take more chip damage in that process to maintain that weather control. And then we got the Battle Room. Once again, really liked this team because it's got that Dragonite to deal with the Charizard if it needs to. Flamethrower, Dragon Pulse, Extreme Speed. No Thunderbolt on it, but you also have Frostlass as a Mega to deal with the Garchomps that want to deal with the Dragonites, that want to deal with the Charizards. And then you have Palafin. And I thought this was really good because there's no Protect on Sneasler. So one in an open team sheet, this is going to be tough because you know that the Sneasler is not going to be able to protect. But at the same time, you also get coaching out of this. I don't feel like it's wise to drop Close Combat to drop Dire Claw. So dropping Protect actually does make sense here, especially with the Focus Sash. So you know you're living at least one hit. And that means with Sneasler's speed, you can usually get 1 to 2 coachings off. And that helps out Palafin, that helps out Garchomp, that helps out King Gambit. And then everything else from here is just, do damage, do big damage. So I can't wait to see the video talking about this. I think this is a really cool team. And it's kind of curious that we've seen Palafin come up a little bit more. I wonder if this is going to change it even more. Now I want to look to see if there's any teams that like catch my attention. You got the Blastoids with Vivillon. I get annoyed by this team. It is a good team, but with Pavilion here, you can just, sleep powder. You also get access to Rain Dance. With the Choice Scarf, you're going fast, but then you also have that slow option with the Farigiraf here. And then there's the Kangaskhan, the Mega Kangaskhan is one of your Megas as well. So you can have a really good matchup against a lot of Garchomps with the low kick, with the double edge, with the fake out and the ice punch. No sucker punch on this. I get it though. You really don't need sucker punch if you are controlling the turns, whether it's through sleep powder or rage powder or a trick room. So this makes sense. We do have the Shell Smash Blastoids, so Blastoids can go in multiple directions. You can fake out and help set up Trick Room, and then use Blastoid Speed to deal a lot of damage with Water Spout. You have the redirection and Shell Smash options here. Pretty cool. Oh, there's Lorcy with the Mega Delphox. I think this is the highest rated Mega Delphox, which was pretty cool. We saw it on stream. We saw it click substitute on a turn where it got encored, and it seems like in Champions, the Sucker Punch is based off of the original move that is picked. We know that Priority and Encore can cause some weird interactions, but I guess in this match, his opponent did not realize that that's would happen, that the substitute would be used for the Sucker Punch, but then the Encore would make Delphox use Heat Wave. It worked out in Lorcy's favor. Got more Charizard here. We got another Palafin from Andrew Ding with two Megas. We got Mega Aerodactyl, Mega Floret. We're seeing the black glasses King Gambit, and a lot of that is because people are kind of figuring out how to play against Sneasler a little better. Also, people are not calcing for the black glasses as much because Chople Berry is so common. So now that Chople Berry has become common, if you want to get that extra percentage, if you want to catch your opponent off guard, black glasses is a good call. We have a Pear Strap team from, I think this is Shiny Umbreon VGC. I see him on Twitter all the time. I know who this is. I just can't remember their Twitter handle, but they're using a Parasong team with the Politoed and the Gengar. But you have Tinkaton here with the Shukaberry to deal with the ground type attacks, but it also has Fake Out and Encore and Gigaton Hammer. This seems like good into the Mega Floette, and it's actually not that bad into Sneasler as well, because the Fairy resists the close combat, and then the Steel typing that Tinkaton has makes it immune to Dire Claw. So its typing is really good, and I think it can do a lot here. And then you also have the Politoed to deal with the Charizard and all that stuff. But, just a Parasong team here. We do have a Cleavor team here. Mega Charizard. I don't know. Cleavor is pretty good as long as Stonex doesn't miss. I've been trying it out. We have another Esperatha team. We have Mega Scizor. Bug Bite, Bullet Punch. No Swords Dance, just knockoff, which is not too bad. I think getting a good knockoff with Scizor is actually really good. And there's a lot of ways to support it and pivot. But it seems like this team probably relied mostly on Mega Dragonite, but Mega Scizor is there for the Floette, because the Archaludon does not have Flash Cannon. Anything else catching my attention? A lot of Corviknights with Tyranitar and Excadrill. We have a Mega Skarmory here. Mega Skarmory can definitely be solid because it has that Rock Tomb for speed control on top of, the Tailwind as well. Its typing is really good against Garchomp. And once again, the Iron Head there to deal with opposing Floettes. And this is just the offensive Floette with 3 attacks and Protect. We got Alex here with the Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur in Trick Room actually seems like kind of solid, but I feel like most Trick Room modes are going to utilize the Kangaskhan and the Torkoal and the Sylveon more than they would the Mega Venusaur, but Mega Venusaur is definitely there for certain matchups. And then you don't even have to mega it because you have the Torkoal there. You can activate Chlorophyll with that instead. So there is a lot of different modes here. This is very interesting to see. I like Mega Venusaur. I used it in the Grand Champions Festival, and it still feels good. It's hard in this Charizard meta, but you can have it take heat waves pretty well. But yeah, that's all that's really catching my attention, and at least in the higher ratings. I haven't looked through the whole thing, but Charizard Y is our first, regional champion of Pokemon Champions, which isn't that surprising. But you've definitely seen the meta shift in a way that goes after that Charizard. It's just that all the things that want to do well against Charizard kind of start to struggle against Garchomp in some ways. So it's interesting to see how people approach that. I do like the Palafin. I think the Palafin is interesting, especially with the fact that we saw King Gambit at 60% usage for day 2. The bulk up is what caught me off guard, because when I've tried Palafin, I used Drain Punch as a way to 1, get recovery, and 2, hit King Gambit for a decent amount. But the bulk up makes sense. It really does. And then the leftovers kind of replaces that Drain Punch. So if you can do more damage and you can play a game where you're knocking out threats before they can hit you, like leftovers is going to do even more. Or if you have damage mitigation like Light Screen or Intimidate, it's solid. But what do you think? What surprised you the most about Indie Regionals? I heard that day 1 was a little hectic, but I wasn't there, so we won't talk about that. I want to try to get Evan on a video where he can talk about his team. So let Evan know in the comments that you want to hear from him and you want to hear about his top 8 team here. But that's going to be all. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Zach, and we'll see everyone later.